Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Wait, okay. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Hannah. If you don't know me, I am a beauty and fashion photographer living and working in Los Angeles. Today I am joined by the incredible makeup artist, Zara Kaplan.
Hello. Sorry.
She has shot for brands such as La Mer, Chanel, Kosas Cosmetics. She's also shot for Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Vanity Fair, and she's passionate about doing glowy, natural, high-end makeup, enhancing women's natural beauty. And she's one of the best makeup artists I know. And I wanted you to meet her today because I feel like it's really important for beauty photographers to understand makeup and to understand how to shoot from a makeup artist's perspective. I think there's a lot that we can learn from each other. And that is why I asked Zara to join today. So hi, Zara.
Hey, babes. How's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
No worries
I'm
at
excited
all.
to have a chat.
Yeah. And you are also a Brit and you've moved to LA. So I'm going to be asking you about that in a few minutes.
Amazing.
But first, how are you doing right now with the crazy corona situation? Like, how did it affect you from the beginning and how are you feeling about it now?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously so crazy. We're completely out of work. And obviously, my job is to touch people's faces. So I'm completely out of that right now. But I think it's been a really, really big eye opener, the fact that we need to start kind of growing our online businesses and finding other avenues of making money and trying to kind of hustle a little bit and realizing that we do have to have another avenue of income coming in if we can. So I think that's what I've tried to take from this whole situation. But I mean, definitely it's like an incredibly crazy time and everyone in the creative industry is definitely suffering. But yeah, doing the best we can.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting going into the world post-corona,
Oh my
as
God.
obviously we're not sure how long it's going to last, how long you're going to be. If when you do go back, are you going to be wearing face shields and
I
face
mean,
masks? And
definitely. I've literally ordered a face shield and I've got so many face masks and
amazing.
it's going to be like going into surgery.
It is.
It's going to be such a different world. It's so crazy how things can change from one day to the next. I didn't actually see any of this coming. Like even up until like the day before, I just did not see, I did not predict this. And
Yeah.
it's just mad. It's mad.
Yeah, I mean, in our whole lifetimes, there's been nothing. Because obviously, there's been Ebola and SARS and stuff, but we've been so lucky as to where we've lived where that hasn't affected us.
I know, it's crazy. It's so crazy.
But yeah, so hopefully, we'll all be prepared and ready soon. How are your friends dealing with this? Have you found that there are some people taking it more seriously than others?
I mean, definitely. I think that it's quite split. And I think a lot of people at the moment are starting to relax a lot more, which I do not agree with. I think that it's really crucial that we all just follow the guidelines and then, when we have instruction that we're allowed to loosen up a little bit and go outside and take it slow. But I just think a lot of people are starting to get frustrated and kind of look at statistics that they think make sense to them, and then suddenly they decide that they can start going out and they're going to kind of go against the system kind of thing. But yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of people that are starting to relax.
Yeah, a bit too soon, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask you, what initially drew you to makeup? Did you know you were going to do this when you were growing up, or were you from coming from an art perspective or a skincare perspective, or what inspired you to start as a makeup artist?
Yeah, it's funny because I wish I had a story where I'm like, oh, I've been fascinated with it from a really young age, and I always knew that I wanted to do it. But the truth is that I actually went to university to study sociology because I didn't know what else to study. And that lasted about 8 weeks. And then I just decided university was not for me. And then I was like, I need to be my own boss. Should I be a personal trainer? Which is hilarious because I cannot be a personal trainer. Like,
I
I
mean,
do
you
not.
could.
I hate working out, so that would be. But yeah, and then my mum suggested I do makeup, and I've always definitely done my makeup. I remember like waking up at like 6 a.m. to go to school, and I would do my makeup for it. So I've definitely always had an interest in it, but I never even knew that it was like a career. So then I just went from there and I started looking into makeup courses. So I did some short makeup courses, and it kind of just was a bit of a domino effect after that. I just kind of built a really big passion for it. But yeah, it's so funny. I don't remember having an opinion on makeup before I actually started looking into it.
That's so funny because I quit university as well. But I did a full year and I was studying fashion styling and photography. So it was like, it was still in that field, but as you said, you just didn't relate to the structure of it. I definitely felt the same. And I think I always knew I wanted to be my own boss. And I ended up just leaving. But it's so crazy because some people think you need a degree to work in the creative industry, and sometimes it works, but sometimes you don't really need it.
I mean, for some people, it's so essential, and people also like to feel like they have something to fall back on if they've got a degree of some sort. But I personally, for me, I think that if I was to spend 3 years at university beforehand, it would have delayed me so much in how, I would be 3 years behind. I didn't go to school and learn everything about prosthetics and film and TV. There's courses like, I think it's at the London College of Fashion, you could do a whole makeup course that's like 3 years long, and you end up coming away being able to work on a film set, on a TV set, on a, in beauty, in fashion. So I think it is really valuable. It just depends if you know what kind of niche you want to go down. And I think I always knew, I think I always knew that I wanted to do kind of nothing to do with the prosthetic side of things. That's never really appealed to me. I'm definitely way more drawn to making people look beautiful instead of making them look, like a demon. It's just not me.
For sure. No, for sure. And so how did you take your first steps into that? Did you do any online courses or week-long courses, or did you just start working freelance?
So I did a week-long course at the London College of Fashion, which basically was nothing. It was just a really small intro, and then from that I kind of decided, okay, I want to do an actual course. But it was a 3-week course at a company called AOFM, which is the Academy of Freelance Makeup, and it's brilliant. It's really, really good. And I learnt, I dabbled a little bit in how to do bridal makeup and how to do fashion makeup and beauty makeup and kind of the differences from all of that. I wouldn't say that you leave that course ready to be fully freelance. They definitely recommend that you go work in retail, and I do as well. I really recommend anyone working in retail starting out in the beauty industry. I got a job at Space NK, and that was the perfect place to work, because not only do you have regular training, you're working with the best skincare brands, the best makeup brands, really high end, and you're doing makeovers all day long, which is honestly just the most incredible experience. And I actually had like an epic fail. And
oh my God, you have to tell me.
someone asked my friend to take over. I was doing their makeup. It was my first day, and she was like, "Do you mind if your friend takes over from me, please?" Because my friend was working on her friend, so she obviously thought she got the crappy makeup, which honestly she did. I was like fresh. I was fresh out of my 3-week makeup course.
Yeah.
And I honestly gave up after that point.
Oh.
But the second I relaxed and the second I
Yeah.
gave up, I actually just started to get a really natural talent for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I then, thanks to that situation, I ended up just relaxing and being able to really build a passion for it without being scared.
Mm-hmm.
So I could not recommend retail enough. So definitely retail was my start into the beauty industry.
A lot of people say that they really like retail because you get so many different skin types in there.
Exactly.
You get 19-year-olds and you get 75-year-olds, and you really get to, I guess, practice on a big range of people, right?
And you get easy clients, you get some really difficult people, like, attitude wise, you get some sassy customers.
I mean, that prepares you for fashion, if nothing else.
Absolutely, girl. Let me tell you, there was sassy people in my makeup chair. So hard. I was so stressed out because this 2 months after I started working, full stop. It was just, you get really cool people coming in. So it's just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, what an experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And so who was the first person you assisted, if you have assisted, and how did that go?
Yeah, well, I actually started working in TV, and I was basically there as an assistant. So I started working, assisting a whole department of makeup artists.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely taught me how to be an assistant and, think ahead of the game and all that kind of stuff. I've never really assisted one person as many people do for, a number of years. And that is a great way to move up, because you end up they end up giving you some of their clients sometimes, and they make connections with you, but it's definitely a commitment to work with one artist. So since then, I had my eyes set on LA, so I came to LA, and I've definitely assisted a number of different artists. Recently, I've started assisting Rachel Goodwin, who's a really big celebrity makeup artist out here. Mm-hmm. And I assist my friend Harry sometimes, who's got an amazing she's just incredible.
I love her. She's amazing.
I love her. And just so many different really interesting artists and talented artists that I've been fortunate enough to assist over the years. And I don't think you ever stop learning either. There's always something you can pick up on the way, at any stage in your career. So I've always just dabbled in assisting. I've never committed to being an assistant.
Yeah, for sure. Big job go. Were you terrified or were you feeling pretty confident?
It's funny because I think that you start off in what you think is a big job, and it's actually really small. So then, you gradually work your way up to doing big jobs. So I think by the time you get there, it's not as big of a thing. So I think every job at the beginning of my career that I would go on, I would definitely have nerves. But it definitely got to the stage where it just became, this is my job and I'm just going to work. And I know that I'm good at what I do and I can do this. But yeah, I think by the time I got to doing a big job, that I was confident within myself. It was more the beginning with the smaller jobs that it was more scary. So yeah.
And actually it's quite funny because I find some of the jobs that I did when I was starting out, like the campaigns for smaller brands and stuff like that, actually ended up being more crazy than some of the ones I'm doing now. And I think it's just because you're expected to do so much on such a small, the references from Vogue, but then the model is like the brand owner's friend who's like pretty, but she hasn't really had any experience. And the location that you're shooting is in somebody's backyard, but then the reference is like the jungle and you're trying to make it work. Where it's just like, you know what I mean?
That is amazing. Wow.
It's
yes, I
so
couldn't agree more. It's like, yeah, it definitely, a lot of people have high expectations on a super low budget where they're not paying anyone on set, and they don't have professional models, because models make a huge difference.
It's a huge difference.
I definitely, wherever I can, try and have my say with who if if it's a smaller, I'm not saying if it's a big campaign, then obviously I've got no word whatsoever, and you go out and do your job. But if, for example, let's say we're test shooting, we go through the models together. And I think that definitely just the model is such a big part of it. And also, I couldn't agree more. Definitely at the beginning, the smaller jobs, it's a bit harder to do your job really well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well with models, it's all about, I think some people are just born with it. It's this attitude that they have.
Sass, isn't it?
How did you go from working at Space NK to becoming freelance? How did you make the jump from working at Space NK to becoming full-time freelance as a makeup artist?
It was definitely kind of like a mix between the two. Once I was starting to get busier with my own things outside of Space NK, I would put my hours down. So you don't have to take the jump fully. What you can do is kind of like start off working retail 5 days a week, and then maybe bring it down to 4, and then gradually 3, and then you're on a 0-hour contract. So it doesn't have to be like a overnight, okay, I'm going to go freelance tomorrow. Just ease into it. And that's definitely what I did, and it worked really well for me.
Yeah, it's definitely really hard to make that jump. And I know a lot of photographers ask me a lot of the time, how do you go freelance? And I mean, for me, I was working at a model agency and managed to save up from working on the weekends until I had enough money to go freelance. So that's why I was so interested in your journey, because I know it's different for everybody.
Absolutely.
And so you, like me, are a Brit who has moved to LA. What is it about Los Angeles that drew you to it? And do you feel like you're able to go further now in your career because you're in Los Angeles?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the reason why I wanted to move to LA in the first place is because I think that if you really want to reach the heights that you want to reach in the entertainment industry, at least, LA is just the place to be. It's the hub of celebrity, pop culture, and the opportunity out here is just immense. Like the second you land in LA, I feel like you get the 5 biggest opportunities you've ever got in your life just the second you land. Like it's crazy. You never know who you're going to meet. All the big campaigns are shot out here or either in New York. So having access to working in America is just so valuable. And I think that, I always had that in my mind, and it was definitely the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I definitely, I know that you can absolutely have an incredible career living in England or wherever else. That some of my favorite makeup artists are still based in London. But just for my particular journey, I just definitely wanted to move to LA. And also the lifestyle is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like a way of life that I could never even dream of.
Yeah.
Growing up in London, it's completely different. So I love that. I love the complete change of it all.
It's so crazy because I feel like in LA, you feel like you're doing less, but you're doing more. And it's so confusing to me because in London, I would always feel so stressed, and like every minute was a struggle, and like getting to and from jobs was just always somehow drama. It was always dark, so it's really hard to shoot with natural light.
I also think that in London, no matter how much highlighter I would put on someone's skin or dewiness, oh my God, if you're outdoors, you look dry as hell. There is like not one bit of moisture
what
on
is
the face.
it?
I cannot even tell you. I will never do, unless I'm paid, I will never do a shoot outdoors in London again.
Yeah.
It's just
It
horrid.
it doesn't, I don't know, there's something about the weather. There's something, although I have shot probably my best moody shots out there, like, and there's definitely something that LA doesn't have in terms of that. And I feel like everybody, like some people prefer London to LA and vice versa. For me, I just felt as well like LA had just such a positive energy that London, for me, it just, I don't know. I think as well, there's obviously, London's very editorial. Los Angeles is more, I guess, commercial in terms of the fashion side of things. But I feel like we're both kind of in a happy medium between the two, where we're doing the brands and the shoots that we want to do that are sort of somewhere between that. So not as edgy as London and not as maybe happy and smiley as LA, but somewhere, I mean, these are all stereotypes, but just somewhere in between.
No, for sure.
I think we've found our like happy place of where we live.
Definitely. I think that also like your work kind of attracts the kind of jobs that you're going to get. So someone that, you might be a happy medium, you might be able to do more of the editorial and the beauty stuff, which you do so beautifully. And you're going to get the really cool clients that are going to come to you because you're so good at that. And maybe you got that, from being from England, you might have picked up something more edgy, like you were saying, and that will be really attractive to clients out here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you can do it all out here. I just think in general, it's probably more of a commercial market, but there's definitely everything, and also the beauty is moving here, you have access to working in New York or anywhere, and New York is so editorial and fashion, so you get the best of both worlds, and that's my aim eventually, is to be kind of like bi-coastal.
Oh, same. Have you done many jobs in New York since you've had your American visa?
No, I this was going to be my year.
Oh no,
it's done. This was like 2020, let's go New York. But it's a bloody write-off.
Oh, it's crazy. It's
next
so
year.
Sad. Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see you doing stuff there. And I mean, you're known for your beautiful makeup and your super glossy and just high-end chic, just tasteful, but creative and beautiful makeup. And how do you think social media has managed to help you find the clients that you love and that you gel with so much?
I mean, I'm truly so grateful for social media, and it's such a blessing because it's basically just our portfolio. You have a website and you have all of that stuff, but a lot of times, and I've heard you tell me that you've given my social media to a client and they might have hired me because of how my social media looks,
people love your social media.
But it's not just mine, it's any makeup artist that I follow, that I love following. They just have a killer social media, and it's what attracts clients to you. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one. I'm sure every makeup artist that I love and adore gets all of their clients, or if not 80% of their clients, through social media. And it's just such an incredible platform to be able to showcase your work, as well as your personality as well, because nowadays we're able to upload an IGTV tutorial, which in turn will kind of end up maybe getting you a brand sponsorship in the future, or being an ambassador for a brand because they love your personality and what you stand for. And it's just, there is such an incredible amount of opportunity that can come from your social media, and I find that so exciting. So I definitely think that clients are able to see what your aesthetic is through how you present yourself on there, and in turn you might be able to attract the ones that you really want.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing as well, like as you said, it's not necessarily that you're limited to making money from day by day jobs. As you said, you can have partnerships and collaborations with brands. And I know a lot of makeup artists that have, you know, they go on to be a consultant for a brand,
Yes.
you know, working in-house or working on creative direction for their new product lines and their campaigns. So there is so much more that you can do with it.
Absolutely. It has opened up a whole new world of opportunity for the creative industry.
It's amazing. And I think something that both of us are really passionate about is doing work for Instagram. I think, you know, we've both shot together a lot and we've done creative tests and stuff to post on Instagram, because I think a few years ago that was almost kind of frowned upon to do that, and it was like, oh, you just have to do editorial or campaign. But a lot of the time, you know, if you don't have access to magazines and editors and all this stuff, but you still want to create, you should still be able to create. And I know people that have done a beautiful editorial but they can't place it anywhere, so they just don't post it, or they decide to post it a year later when it's gone out of fashion. And I think it's so important that we do keep testing, especially beauty photographers and makeup artists.
Yes.
And something that really inspired me about you is that when you moved here, you obviously we were doing some paid test, not paid testing, but, you know, creative testing. But also you decided to just get some models around your house and do makeup on them and then just post it on your Instagram. And I think that's so resourceful. How did you come up with that idea?
I mean, I'm sure someone suggested that I start doing that, if I'm totally honest. I can't remember who. It could have been you. I don't remember. But I think at that point, it could have been my boyfriend, actually. Or no, I am lying to you all. I came up with the idea. I remember the epiphany. I remember,
yes.
actually, I remember kind of being at the point where I was like, I need to, when I first moved, you know, you're not as busy as you might be a year in. And I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, and I think the universe loves to take action. So I woke up one day and I was talking to my boyfriend, and I was like, I need to do something. And I definitely had an epiphany that I was like, okay, I'm going to get models around and start doing their makeup so that I have constant content, because the more content you put out there, the more brands are going to see you, the more campaigns you'll book. And I mean, listen, it's obviously different now because, you know, who knows, for the next year or two, that's probably not okay. But definitely for the last year or two, I've been able to do that. And it's just a really great way of getting content and being able to do tutorials on models and different looks and just showcasing what you can do. Yeah, I recommend anyone to do that. And I see loads of people do it, you know, like it's definitely not a revolutionary idea. So many of my friends get models around and do tutorials, and it's just a really fun way of being creative on a day off.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I know often the models as well, I think that's the difference as well between lots of the models in London and the models in LA, is that I think a lot of models in LA are always down to shoot, to test. I think they really know how important getting new content is.
It's beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, like, that's something I've spoken about in some of my other videos, which is the more you test, the bigger your network will get. Like, you know, the more models you shoot, brands follow models and makeup artists.
I've also gotten jobs from models referring me.
Oh, wow. I mean, there you go.
Exactly.
I have as well, actually, thinking about it. Yeah.
So the more people you're working with,
you
never know who you're going to be introduced to through someone that you meet in the industry. It could be a model that you were working with on an e-com shoot, or someone that you just reached out to collaborate. You just never know. And that is why you should always be so open to collaboration.
Literally. And one of the reasons I love working with you so much is that you're a nice, normal, chill person. And I feel like the fashion industry has such a bad rep of just being full of like really mean, cold people. And they're definitely around, but it's not totally full of people that are like that. A lot of
No.
people are, you know, chill and normal and they get on with the job. There's, you know, so many negative stereotypes.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I mean, my network of friends and colleagues are just all so lovely. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong, I've come across some major assholes in this industry that obviously I will never name, you know, I'll take that to my grave. But
Yeah.
there are some incredibly entitled people.
Yeah.
But there's also just such a huge amount of supportive people that just want to help you,
Yeah.
including people within the same field. You know, I've
Yeah.
got such an amazing group of friends that are makeup artists, and we all kind of refer clients to each other because it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's collaboration over competition. You know, it's all helping to lift each other up, and so there are such an incredible amount of people in this industry that are just so lovely. But
Yeah.
definitely there are the entitled ones as well.
It's interesting because when I first started, I assumed I had to like go out to the club and like hang out with certain people and like be cool to like get jobs. And when I ended up, I knew that's what I thought, but I was just always like, oh well, I'll do it anyway and just be me, and like maybe I won't be successful, but I'll try it. And the further up I get in the industry, the more I see the people that are, like you said, like heads of brands, heads of creative agencies. In general, everyone's so nice because the industry couldn't work if everyone was, you know, throwing what's the phrase? Throwing your cat out of the pram? I'm not sure.
Your toys out of the pram.
Throwing your toys out the pram.
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
that's it. Yeah.
Don't
Don't throw any cats, guys. Like, don't do that.
No cats were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Exactly. Like, yeah. So I think that's definitely a stereotype. So if you are like just a normal gal or a normal guy,
just be kind. Just be kind. You know, kindness takes you so far.
Yeah.
And you are only going to get so far from being an arsehole. You know, you will not be called back.
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally agree. How have you dealt with criticism? Like, if, you know, from when you were started to now, like, have you always been receptive to it, or did it get your back up, or does it depend on what it is? Like, how has your journey with that been?
I mean, I think it's not so much criticism, because I don't think people are openly critical. I think you'll just get rejected for certain opportunities, you know, and I take that, some people might take that as criticism. But I, as douchebaggy as this sounds and as cliche as this sounds, I really look at every rejection as a blessing. Because it puts you on the right path, and also it teaches you a lesson, and you think you're ready for certain things, but maybe you're not. You need more time to grow. But, you know, it's I think every single criticism or every single rejection or something that might not go your way, or something you thought you were ready for that you're actually not yet, is just a blessing, because it means that you're still on your journey, you're still on the right path, and you're being guided to being on the correct path if something doesn't necessarily go how you wanted it to. So I do see it like that. I don't have a negative view on criticism.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I've definitely had situations before, again, when I was starting out, and there was a certain budget and then a certain like idea, and I obviously tried to get it as much to that level as I could, but you know, sometimes, as we know, it's not necessarily possible. It's you know, it's like trying to create a certain makeup look and a certain lighting. It just doesn't.
Exactly. And actually, I think you get to the stage in your career, like, for example, now, I'll be very honest with a client if I don't think I'm the right match for them. I'm not going to set myself up for failure. You know, I respect immensely, you know, the people that do super, super glam makeup. I think you know, it's so in demand, and there is such a huge amount of people that want that kind, and that and there's certain people out there that will look at my makeup and literally be like, makeup is for playing with, you don't put enough on the face. Like, I completely appreciate that. But I'll be very honest if I'm not the right fit for a client. So I think also
that's really
not
important.
setting yourself up for failure is incredibly important. Otherwise you will get criticism. I've definitely had clients want more and more, and then I realized at the end that maybe we just weren't a good fit. So I think the longer you've been working, the more you can kind of pick out and be really honest with people and say, I actually don't think I'm a good fit, but here's, you know, my friend who is just incredible at doing that kind of makeup. And you know, there are some people that do it all, that are just incredible at it all, but I'm just not passionate about doing a certain type of makeup look, you know.
And I think that's really important, because I've definitely found the jobs or the shoots that I've been on where I wasn't 100% invested don't get the same results. And it's whether it's a creative alignment, whether it's just you know, several other things it could be. I definitely took jobs before that I then regretted taking, and I should have known that the creative direction wouldn't have worked for me, but you know, maybe the mood board was so different from the brand, and then, or the model was just of a different
or you just
vibe.
want money. You're just like, I need money.
Sometimes you're just broke and you do anything. I mean,
you could get the biggest client of your life and everything could just take off.
And this industry is so amazing, and I wish that more people knew the levels that it can get to, because I think a lot of people trying to start out are trying to convince their parents, like, I want to be a makeup artist. And obviously a lot of people's parents would just be like, oh, what, like, how are you going to make work when you could earn so much money?
I'm so sorry, my dog is literally having like a sneezing fit. Anyway, I completely agree with you, and I think that once you realize that the possibilities are endless, I just find that so exciting. It's part of the reason I'm so passionate about doing this, and I'm sure you're the same. Because there is no limit to the heights that we can reach, and once you realize that, it's actually such a cool profession to be in, just in any creative industry. I just like, it's so exciting.
No, 100% agree. So since you have become more successful and you know, your career is blossoming, do you find that clients are asking you to make mood boards for jobs, whether it's just to do with makeup or creative direction? Have you found that people are asking you that? And if they are, then how do you go about that process?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that really happens for one-on-one client experiences. I think that with any big campaign that I've done, I always get sent the mood board, and you know, it's usually on Pinterest or something like that, or like printed out or sent in an email, and I can take inspiration from that. But if it's kind of like a one-on-one, a client might say, oh, I want to go for this kind of look, then I'll put together a mood board on Pinterest and come up with a vibe. And especially for red carpet events or something like that, I love to put things together, especially if I've seen the dress, and just be able to kind of like come up with a really cool idea, and kind of just at least so that I can know the direction that I'm going to take on the day. Whether that changes, that's totally fine. But just, it's just always good to have an idea of the route that you're going to take in some way. And that's why I love making mood boards.
Yeah, for sure. And do you have, you know, I know a lot of people are passionate about their Instagram saved folders. Do you have your, how do you structure those?
So I structure it. I've got red carpet, I've got colourful makeup, I've got cool editorial, I've got art, so like any art that I'm drawn to. It's definitely, it brings me joy looking at that, because it's just a feed of like your favourite artists, isn't it? Just like, there is some mind-blowingly beautiful work out there, and it's just so nice to be able to kind of
have it as inspiration, you know, like I think that I love that we can do that on Instagram and take inspiration and just get inspired by other people's art. So yeah, I love looking through my save folders.
Do you generally, like, when you're getting inspired for a shoot, do you sometimes just see the model and think, oh my god, I know what I'm doing? Or do you ever get inspired by things that aren't like Pinterest or Instagram? Because I know everyone has a different sort of creative process.
For sure. I mean, I think you can get inspired by absolutely anything. You can get inspired by nature, something you've seen, you know, a physical object, like whatever it is. You can get inspired by anything and everything. Like I'm looking at my blinds right now. I'm like, oh, that's a cool structure. Could do something with that.
There's this amazing account on Instagram. I'm not sure if you follow, and I'm not sure the name of it. I'll have to find out. But there's somebody, a makeup artist, that has a picture of like
Terry Barber. Is it Terry Barber?
Yes, I think so.
Girl.
And
something
it's like
it's
a random shoot
and
a makeup look inspired by that.
Yes,
artist.
Big fan. Also, you know who a big celebrity makeup artist who does the same kind of thing is Jo Baker. She's definitely got a career that I want to like. That's like my career goals right there. But she does the same thing. So anyone like wanting some really cool inspo, she uploads it might be a picture of burnt toast, and she'll put it next to a black smoky eye, and she'll be like, "This is my inspo for that." And I just think she's awesome. But also going back to your question about do I look at a model and kind of think, yes, absolutely, because there are so many different eye shapes out there, and when you get the right one, sometimes you're just like, this is my time to shine with like what a specific look in general, you know, because there's just so many beautiful eye shapes out there and so many different looks that you could possibly do. And definitely, I think someone's face can inspire you the second you look at it.
Definitely. I feel the same way as well, regarding photography. Like,
amazing.
I'll think, oh, I want to light this person this way or this way. Yes. Is there anything, you know, obviously you've been working with beauty photographers and photographers since you started. Is there anything that you wish photographers knew more that would help both of you in terms of, you know, shooting beauty?
I mean, I definitely wouldn't say anyone that I work with now has anything that I would advise differently on, because you get to a point where you just start only working with people that you really like the work of. So, but definitely starting out, you know, I'd work with beauty photographers that just didn't have a clue about lighting, and it would be so unflattering, and you know, all the bags under the eyes would shine up, even if in real life there's none there.
There's nothing
about
there,
lighting, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is the most unflattering thing ever. So I really think that, you know, beauty photographers need to keep in mind, and this is purely for people just starting out, really. Keep in mind how the makeup is going to look with your certain lighting. It might, just because you want some sort of moody vibe, it still needs to be flattering on the face. And also, I've worked with a fair share of beauty photographers earlier on that over retouch. And there's nothing more annoying than doing a really lovely natural makeup look, and then suddenly you see that the eyebrows are 20 times darker than they were before, and you're like, I did not do that.
It's not your makeup.
It's
not your makeup. It's not what you did.
So I think there's definitely a fine line. I mean, the photographers that work with now, including yourself, I mean, I'm so lucky because you are so subtle with your enhancements. You really just get it. You get it. And it's just such a pleasure to work with people that just have such a fine line between kind of changing things and just enhancing and seeing it in such a way. And I just think that's a really big talent to have.
I think less is more, isn't it, really, when it comes to retouching, and sometimes when it comes to light, like, not in terms of less light, but sometimes a more simple light. When I started, I thought you had to have like 10 lights on the model, but now most of the time I just use one, and then, you know, one big octa and then a bunch of fill, you know, and 9 times out of 10, if you're doing studio, that's pretty much how I do it. And then if I'm natural light, I love shooting front on to the sun, but again, depends on the time of day. You might need bounce. Something I really messed up on, and I think when I first came to LA, and you might have experienced this, I'm not sure, shooting in natural light on a sunny day around noon, it's just not the one. Like, you need the model to be lying down on the floor if you're going to do that. And I used to think, like, oh, why is this happening? But it's the sun. You can't change it.
Yeah.
You know?
Every shoot, you know, that I go on, they want that magic hour light, you know?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, lighting is such a huge part of the schedule on a shoot. And, you know, any campaign that I go on, we do work around the sun and the hours that the sun is going to be best here and best there, you know, like how it kind of hits the model in the perfect way. So I think it's definitely important to understand that.
Yeah, 100%. So on that note, what is your goal? 5 to 10 years? Where do you see yourself? What's, obviously assuming Corona goes away.
Yeah, please.
Go away.
I mean, my dream is to be a really successful celebrity makeup artist. Yeah, I want to be, you know, hopefully signed to a top agency. Yeah, just doing what I'm doing on a much bigger scale.
Who are your dream clients? Oh, sorry.
Oh, my dream clients?
Yeah. Like in terms of brands or celebrities?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I want to work, I want to have a relationship constantly with Chanel. I want to be doing, you know, Oscar-nominated actresses and just any, I always say that I don't know, I want the next generation of talent coming in. I think it's always really exciting when you get to work with new, emerging, exciting actresses or models or anyone new to the scene, because you kind of want those fresh new talent, and I think that's really exciting. So every year is a new influx of talent, and you just never know. I'd love to grow with someone. So I really just trust in the universe, and we'll see where things take me. But I would definitely love to grow with someone as their career develops and as my career develops as well.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing to be a part of, for sure. And grow with them as they're getting all their brand partnerships and going through their life. And you can it's
fun to experience that with someone and to be excited about it.
Yeah, no, definitely incredible. And I know that one time you drove me up Mulholland Drive and you were like, girl, I'm gonna live here.
Hell yeah.
Which, like, hopefully we can be neighbours.
Listen, girl, let's share a house and just halve it. But it would be so fun. But I definitely, like I've said a million times, law of attraction is my thing. So I have no doubt in my mind that it's possible to achieve everything someone wants. I've got huge goals and huge, you know, like I know which house I want. I've already chosen it. See it. Like my boyfriend and I walk the dog every morning and we say, hi house, like, hey future. Like we literally know the house that we're going to live in, and it will be ours.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
With all your hectic schedule and,
a hectic schedule, I wish, babes. I've got a hectic schedule of watching Selling Sunset. Dude,
I love that show. Oh my god. So pre-Rona.
Yeah, pre-Rona.
And hopefully post-Rona. How do you take time for yourself and keep grounded and keep a sort of level mindset while you're in your crazy busy times, because I know it can get super stressful, especially when you're back to back or you're traveling. So how do you deal with all of this?
It comes in waves, isn't it? You might have a month where you don't have one day off, and then you suddenly got 3 weeks of doing nothing. So I would definitely say that I just embrace it when I'm busy, and I really try and take that in, because the aim is, you know, as much as you might complain at the time, you once wished that you just were always busy, you know? So I definitely take it in. I think I love getting home after a long day and then just spending time with my dog and my boyfriend and just watching TV and eating a nice dinner. Like that. It's just things like that, you know. I live for the evenings, and I'm definitely not at the point in my career where I feel like I deserve a break in some way, you know, like I'm still very much growing. So if anything, I'm happiest when things are really, really busy. So I don't feel like I'm yet at the point where I need to kind of take a minute to be like, oh, I need some me time, like it's too much, you know, because a busy period would last, you know, a month and a half or something, and then, like I said, I might have 2 weeks off. So I think that the further along in your career you get, you know, the busier for way longer periods you are, and I think at that point you really need to make sure that you're taking time to do self-care and meditate, and I do all that stuff, but I definitely feel like it's, if you're constantly busy, then you do need to just have a day where you're like, actually, I'm not going to work today, I'm going to chill the hell out.
You need to take that time, and I've definitely found somehow I run on adrenaline, you know, from like there was one time where I was in London, the next day I was in LA, the next day I was in San Francisco.
I remember that.
The next day and then I flew to New York on a red eye.
I swear you flew to London and then came back to LA in the space of like 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days. Like, it's crazy. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, I can't even understand how I did that. But I purely just ran off adrenaline. Yeah, because you love your job. And I was so passionate about all the products, campaigns I was working on.
Definitely. It's such a hype. You're just on cloud nine. I love nothing more than having an entire month of work booked out. And I'm like, I'm a boss bitch. This is like, I'm making it. Like, you're just like, yes.
You
and
just
the
kind of
beauty of it is it's not, I think why I'm able to really just be fine during busy periods is because some of my days of work might be an hour, it might be a duolingo. You know, it's not a campaign every single day. It might be a campaign like 3 times a week or 2 times a week, and it might be e-com or 5 days a week or 1 week or something like that. But generally on the weekends, if I'm going to get hired for a job, generally speaking, it's do and go. I don't get too many campaigns on a weekend, you know. It's more like the red carpet stuff, or someone having a little mini photo shoot at home, or, you know, something like that. So I think that there's definitely a good balance of really long days and really, really short days, that I might be done with work by 10 a.m. and then I have the whole day off.
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely. And then, I mean, it's so crazy, but you manage it so well and you're so grounded. So
you're a little hustler.
There's like 5 accents in one sentence. This is why I love Zara. She keeps you on your toes.
I don't know who I am.
It's so funny because I feel like you still sound British, even though
that's not the point. I'm supposed to sound Australian or whatever. How dare you?
But no, like, whereas I feel like I've definitely lost my accent. But okay,
no, I haven't adopted an American accent, I don't think.
Oh, it's so crazy. I just soak it up. So, okay, last question is, what would you tell a creative, you know, whether it's a makeup artist or a photographer, who is just starting out? Because it's really hard, I think, to know that you're good enough within yourself. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, and they want to follow their passion, but they're just not sure if it's financially sustainable in the long run. What advice would you have for them in terms of just sort of chasing their dreams?
I mean, listen, everyone's journey is different, and some people are fortunate enough to maybe live at home and they have to pay rent, so it's really hard to kind of go full on with your dreams to begin with. But there is always, you know, if you're free on the weekends, just start testing, build a book. I think that is the most important thing. There are so many creatives that will be growing at the same time as you, and if you're collaborating super early on and just experimenting and learning your craft in a relaxed setting like a test shoot, you know, you'll just improve and be ready to do the bigger jobs. It's all a learning experience. You'll learn something from every single creative job that you do.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, it's just a process, and you'll see that you end up being so much further along without you even realizing it. So I think just stick with it, assist as many people as you can in whatever field you're in. You know, the best thing you can do is learn from people that are like 10 years ahead of you, you know? And yeah, I think just start, you know that the more hours you put into it, the better you will become and the more confident you will be, because your confidence just grows an incredible amount, and you will reach the point where it's just second nature and you don't get nervous and you just feel confident within yourself. So yeah, definitely just test.
Yeah, you can learn so much, I think, skills wise, and also like just it's the more your network grows, as you said, you'll be more ahead than you think you are.
Yeah, and the people you're collaborating with right at the beginning, 5 years down the line, will also be progressing, and they'll call you for a job. You know, you might get your biggest campaign because of someone you worked with when you were on year one of your career.
Yeah, and I think that's part of like being nice to everyone as well.
Yeah,
like I mean, you should just be nice to everyone in general, whether they're a stranger or not, but like it's so important to just be a nice person. I know it sounds weird, but like, because people remember that. Like, there's definitely times where there's been an option of like hairstylists or whatever that people put forward for a job, and I'm like, oh, but that hairstylist 3 years ago arrived drunk and 5 hours late to a shoot I was on.
Don't do that.
I don't know if I want them.
Yeah, it's first impressions are everything, and in this industry, it is 5 out 5. It's 50% talent, and the other 50% is personality. You know,
100%.
that you get hired on. You know, you might not be the best at what you do, but your personality will get you hired for the job.
100%. And you'll find people that your personality gels with as well. There's everyone in the industry. You're going to come across people you don't get on with and you do get on with.
Yeah, and it just wasn't meant to be.
Not everyone will like you, and that's just how life is.
Definitely. You know, there's some energies that really put me into my shell, and other energies I feel more comfortable to be myself. So I think that it's all about who you're meant to be collaborating with and who you really gel with. And 100% there'll be people that you don't mesh with, and that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Zara.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Coming on.
I love chatting to you.
You too. I think people, makeup artists and photographers, can learn from you, because...
And you, everyone, you know.
It's really interesting to hear your perspective on everything. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, babe.